Hi, everybody. Nick Blazer here with another interview with Terje, Terje Pedersen. Pedersen. Well, I don't know if I know how to say the last name. I did ask about that part. I'm trying my best, but this is the the muscle behind Backgammon Studio and Heroes on online. It's where I've played all my WBIF online matches. Great place to play like tournament backgammon. There's a lot of cool features. We'll talk about all like the website stuff, but the Swiss Army knife of backgammon in Backgammon Studio has been around for years, basically since I started playing, I think. So yeah, excited to talk with Terje, get like learn about him and introduce him to y'all. So hi, thanks for joining, Terje.
Mm. Yes, hello, Nick. Thank you for doing this interview. You were actually, I think you were the first who was interviewed me. So
Oh,
at least
cool.
in video form.
Okay, okay. Awesome,
Mm.
awesome.
So
Yeah,
that's
but
good.
you've been like doing really big things for the backgammon community for a while, but I've never gotten to meet you in person or out at a tournament. Do you
No,
like get out to
I
play
haven't
very
thought that
often?
yet. I'm sure we'll get the chance one day.
Yeah.
I have to travel more for some international tournaments. I haven't been that many so far. So,
Okay. Where are you located right now?
I live in Oslo, in Norway.
Oh, okay, okay. I think I snagged a picture that Lila took maybe. I know she's in Sweden, so I was like
In
connecting
Sweden, yes,
dots.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Swedish Open. That was a great tournament. So that's
Oh, cool, cool. Okay. Is that like your first international tournament, or do you count
no, I've
Sweden
been
as international?
many years. I've been to Nordic Open,
Yeah.
almost. I'm not sure 6 or 7 times to Nordic. A few times there. That's the main international tournament I've been to. So
Oh, very cool. Okay, okay. I've heard that tournament's very broken down by like weight classes if you want to, or PR classes, right? Like they're very
well, there are
organized. Yeah.
three. Yes, there are three, but it's so huge. It has, at least it's been in the past. It's been a really huge one.
Yeah.
Maybe Cyprus has surpassed it now, but in the past, I think it's been really huge. So
Yeah.
it's been awesome to have a huge room full of backhand players. That's excellent, awesome experience. So
Yeah, I hope to get out there someday. It sounds like before the UBC, maybe that was the premier tournament for like competitive like top level PR based competition or almost something like this with the classes that they put out like I was saying. Um the yeah, what division do you play in when you go to the Nordic Open?
I've been mostly advanced. That's also mostly because the price point I think is a little bit too much. Like almost $1,000 to enter the champ division. That been a little bit of a stretch in the past, but it
Yeah.
has been tempting. And I tried the last time I was there. I think it was last time. Then I tried to do a qualifier, and I came up against Sebastian Wilkinson in the qualifier, and I got crushed. But I beat him on PR, so that was an
Yeah,
awesome
very
point.
nice.
I lost out on that one, but still.
That is an accomplishment to beat Sebastian Wilkinson on PR
Yeah,
for
he
sure.
is a really strong player. So yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
good fun.
Yeah, what do they recommend like your PR be at to play in the championship division at the Nordic Open? I've heard things like
I'm not
this.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I've seen any some cutoff or that's if you can afford it. I'm sure they'll allow a few fishes into the champ division.
I gotcha.
That's yeah.
Yeah, I had always heard these rumors about there being like a lot of divisions and how strong you had to be to play in the
Okay.
championship at the Nordic Open
Yeah,
specifically,
maybe
but I don't
actually,
know. Could just be rumors.
yeah,
Cool.
maybe nobody has told me, but I can't remember seeing it.
I
So.
gotcha. So what do you have like a level of play you aspire to in your studies or anything like that? Like what are you trying to do?
I find I spend too little time to on my own game, and just trying to make everybody else stronger by coming up with all kinds of stuff. That's so. But if I were to guess optimistic, probably a 5.5 or something. I really like to go below 5, but
Yeah.
then I have to start focusing on my own game, and
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
That's pretty strong. That's good stuff, man. That's I can relate to that too. Like the more time you spend on backgammon related things, like it gets hard to spend time on your own game, and you tend to have different needs than what you're even in my situation, what you're teaching, things like that, you know.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, you've done amazing work for the backgammon community. How long have you been playing backgammon?
I think it was it 2010 or 2011 that
Okay.
a colleague of mine in my what the Opera software, he suggested that I should join him on the Norwegian Championship. Was playing that weekend. So, yeah, sure. And then I was hooked, and then tried playing. I have known about the game for many years, probably since a kid, but like playing active in the club, that's like 12 or 13 years now. So it's
Yeah. Very cool. So you've been playing a little bit longer than me, but I mean, you're basically a rookie like me. I think a decade isn't enough, right? To
Oh
like,
yeah, we can play for a really long time and still be
right,
not
right.
yeah, really top level. So
Yeah. So not long after that, probably. When did you first release like the first version of Backgammon Studio?
I'm not sure if it was 2015 or 16 around there.
Yeah, yeah,
We're trying to find do some archaeology, looking back, and I found some pictures of some really prototype stuff in from 2014. Just the board that was the start of it, with putting some checkers on a board, and yeah, that's. But I think it was around 2016 that it became a product. So
I got you. That's really cool. That's really cool. What was the inspiration to start off with Studio?
I was looking at other like teaching material and looking at a few sites, and some of them had some good ideas, but I thought that I could do a lot better. So and then I started out do my own stuff. Um, so
Yeah,
it was just a need for. I wanted a learning tool that was entertaining and
yeah.
interesting to use.
That's
If
so
it's really
interesting.
boring
Yeah,
to do the stuff, then it's you may not be so hooked. But
yeah,
then try to compete against others, and then you get some more eagerness to do better.
yeah, yeah. For sure, for sure. That's really cool how much like resources have blown up quite a bit in just the last few years, I feel like. But in that 2014, 2015, there really wasn't a
Uh,
lot out there,
it
you
was
know?
the thing there, yeah. But now the learning emerging is almost too much. Like if you want to watch all the commented YouTube videos matches, and so you'll spend the entire day there, and you're still not going to go through all this. So it's that
Right.
has exploded a lot. So
Yeah,
that
yeah. That's
and
cool.
that's why there's so much good stuff also too.
Yeah.
The stuff that you do, and you have Mishi doing stuff, and there's Siska, and there are so many so that it's you almost don't want to miss anything, but still it's impossible to get through all of it. So
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm so interested to see kind of what's catching people's attention and I want to watch more Amici stuff too, but like yeah, there's just not enough time in the day to keep
the
up with
time here
everyone
you
creating
takes an
either.
hour,
Yeah.
an hour and a half just to watch one match, and it's tough to spend the time on it, but that's
Yeah.
good stuff.
Well, thank you anyone watching that chooses this of all the backgammon resources out there, you know? But
Yeah.
what was the so I mean studio if anyone watching hasn't gotten out there, I mean go exploring that. I know you're working on a version 2 of it too with like updated user interface, but it's become just this like the Swiss Army knife is such a good analogy for it. It's just got all these like disparate tools and all these
Mm.
different ways to study your game and organize errors and things like that. And there's just a million things you can do with it. So I'm curious, like what was like the first tool that you created on there? Like what did it look like in its first iteration?
And to remember it, but I think I started out with like some quiz. I think the training tracks was really one of the earliest ones. That first I found I had to found a way to first I needed to automate importing matches, and then tagging matches with different. Like what they have, like the action tags and position tags. These are the two types of tags that
Yeah,
automatically is added to them. And
yeah,
then I found ways to combine those and to pick out the interesting positions, and then make like the correct in a row type of quiz. So you have to get as many positions correct, and then see how far you get. That's turned
yeah,
out to be really amusing, and you try again and again and again, since you really want to beat your own score, and you want to beat the other guys who has also tried it. So
yeah, yeah. I know. I was talking to Simon Bargett recently, and think he wants to chase Thomas Tenlin's top score on the third roll
Yeah,
positions. Like, so I
yeah,
know
yeah.
people are competing on that stuff for sure. It's a
Yeah,
really
yeah, I
cool
see.
trading resource. Yeah.
Antenna has played a lot in the past. I see. Yeah, that's so. There's a reason why how he managed to get so good at that type of position
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
early
The
on.
reason is you. We'll just put that out there.
Yes, I take credit for all of it. That's true. No, no, no. He was a really strong player to begin with, but still,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure he'd be happy to give some credit for the region over there, you know. So, but yeah, that fascinates me. The whole tagging system. I remember talking to you about this a lot very early
yeah,
on, and this was
yeah,
when I was trying to create my own database of positions,
yeah,
and I was trying to figure out, well, how can I tag them the way that makes sense to me and also use your system. But I've got a little
yeah,
bit of a software background, and
yeah.
that seems like a pretty complicated programming problem to solve to figure out how to analyze XG positions and mark them as different types. So I'm really curious if you can share any I don't
Yeah.
know, that's a big thing to bite off as your first
Yeah,
project
it's a
to
bit tricky. Yeah, so it's
yeah.
I'm sure there's a reason why there aren't that many who does it that way. Since yeah, it required quite a bit of work to come up with something that worked. So
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
Do you want to talk about your secrets with it at all?
I
Is
mean,
that
yeah,
too
I'm not sure
profound?
how it works, but you can read a lot from the tags when you look through the tags. You can
Yeah.
see if there's like the most basic one, hit or not. You see that one move, that correct move, there was a hit, and the wrong move, he didn't hit anything. So then it becomes a hit or not
Oh,
uh,
yeah. Yeah.
tag.
Okay. Okay.
And various making a point or not making a point, or all kinds of
Yeah.
those uh, are checked for, and then and it gets these tags. So
Yeah, I guess that makes the more I think about it while you talk about
yeah,
it, you can, I guess, scrape a position for whether or not they have certain features without too much
yeah,
trouble.
that's the
Yeah.
position. Yeah, do you
Yeah.
have a 2 point board or 3 point board or those? Then you get those position
Yeah.
tags,
Yeah.
and
But that's truly an amazing thing. I know a lot of people out there struggle to figure out how to take their errors and make a position database. That's worth taking
mm,
a shot. I mean, hop on Studio and import your matches and see what you come up with there.
mm,
And the way you get to do that too, I know on Studio, there's a bunch of there's a whole public match section that you make quizzes out of and things like that. Then
yeah,
you can have your own private database for this kind of study
mm.
too, right? Is that still how that
Yes, yeah,
works?
yeah. It's
Yeah,
yeah, premium user can upload their own matches and go through them. So it's
yeah. Is premium users still like $2 a month or a year or something like this?
no,
Or
that was
that's
the
what it's
oldest
got up
one.
to?
Yeah, now it's actually it's a four. I think it's if
Ah,
you on a monthly upgrade premium plan. So
yeah, yeah,
but with the discount, there's some various federations get some like $25 discount for it. So it's I think it's still perfectly reasonable for what you get. You get a tool that you can use
yeah,
the entire year.
yeah.
I'm sure. Again, there's probably a good value in the many other options like some lessons, but you don't get a full year of lesson. You get maybe an hour or two.
Right.
So yeah, so
Yeah. This is the thing with any students that I'm working with. I mean, I think everyone figures this out intuitively, but
mm,
lessons is never the end of it. You have to be studying on your own too and making the
yeah, you have
information
to
your own.
spend time.
Yeah, and this is
So it
one of
can
the
get you.
things. Yeah.
I think it can be a boost to get you off the ground, since you can look at some analysis from XG and still have no clue what's going on. So
Right.
you may need some starter booster to get your understanding to
Yeah.
actually have some value from the analysis. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's no doubt in my mind that $4 a month is worth it for all the tools you get on there. I think that's super awesome stuff. I'm curious about the logistics of that too. Does it cost you quite a bit to run the server and everything like that? I know you put all your
uh,
development time into it.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's quite a bit now. Maybe the Heroes is probably the biggest one since it has most traffic, but
Yeah.
it's a bit. I think it was about $200 a month or something for that.
Yeah, yeah.
But then I thought that was a lot. But then I saw some like it was called it live chess or something. That's the chess, and again it was what was it? Well, it was a huge It was it $6,000 a month or something. They pay
Yeah.
a huge. So it's then I understand that Backgammon is quite small to compare to chess.
Right.
That
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but also I'm sure they have quite a good revenue stream, so that's probably no problem. But
Cool.
I was shocked to see that.
I've heard some numbers like that from Galaxy too in their public posts about like a couple thousand a month for servers or something like that.
Okay, yeah,
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 yeah.
sure. That's yeah, Galaxy probably has
Hmm.
going through the mass huge audience. Oh God, that's more expensive to run. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Are you pretty, so with like the membership that you like small fees and all that stuff, are you pretty like is it easy to break even on that? Do you get to like make a little money
Oh
off it?
yes,
How
yeah,
is it
sure.
there?
That's
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
that's
Yeah.
it's very nice. So yeah, it's
That's good. I'm sure it's
mm.
tough at those kinds of rates, I'm sure to like feel like you're getting compensated for all your development time on it, but
No,
yeah.
probably no. That's probably this is more. I can have to say it's a labor of love. At least my interest in backgammon that makes it. I
Yeah.
could make a lot more by being a hired developer from working from some other company. But still, it's good fun. I've done
Yeah.
that too in the past, so it's.
Yeah. And so I guess we could talk about we'll talk about Heroes as well and how that spawned out. But I know you sent me like a link to test out the new version of Studio, like the
Yeah,
version 2. So
yeah.
yeah, like when's that coming out and what are the goals with that new version?
It's hard to say. Since I feel like I don't have to rush this product. I don't want to put out something that's half finished and then I play catch up and try to fix everything that every user is going to run into. So
Yeah.
this time I'd like to make the production values much higher so that it's solid when
Yeah.
it's released. So
Is
and
it
there's so many things.
mainly yeah. I'm sorry, I was going to ask, is it mainly a user interface update that you're going for too, or are there
No,
features you're
I try
adding?
to do everything else too. Also, like finding, looking at something like how can this be done better? Are there new things or that can add to the experience, and then
Yeah.
try to add that.
Cool, cool. Can you share like one idea of a new feature that you want to get in there that you're excited to put out for people?
Let me say new. Almost the best would probably be to show you, but I'm not sure if you have some screen sharing.
We might be able to. It might like make the. We can try it. Here, here. I'll get ready to adjust pictures in here and things like that. If that's
activity. Yeah, yeah, no. So without actually disconnecting everything, let me see.
I'm sure. I mean, I don't know. We could like make a video about it at some point too, and just talk about it
Yeah,
for
maybe we
now.
can do later. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but yeah, that's all kinds of stuff. Also, yeah,
yeah,
visually, of course, it has to be. That's one. Perhaps the biggest complaint or crap with the old one is that it looked not so good. So yeah, even if you had a million features, it had
yeah.
a long way to go on the user interface part. You couldn't find anything if you wanted to, even if it's so obscure to
Right.
dig through the menu system. So
Yeah. This is the thing with the Swiss Army knife is it's hard to find each piece of the
yeah,
Swiss.
yeah, finding the tool that you want, you can't find it. Too
The
complicated.
analogy
So
still
yeah,
works. It's great.
yeah.
Does that would you say um like your programming background? I guess do you also have like a day job coding? Is that what you do for work?
No, this is not my full time. I have worked like 20 years in as a developer for other companies, but now it's this is a full time.
Oh, okay, okay. And that's really cool. That's I didn't realize you were doing this full time. I mean, I see you get updates out every Thursday, and I was like, how does he ever fit
Yeah.
this in? This is crazy.
Yeah, that's perhaps a little bit too frequent updates. It's a bit tricky since you'd want to test stuff properly before it's out. But on the other hand, if it goes too long and I keep adding all kinds of stuff, then it just grows and grows and grows, and it's getting more and more scary to publishers. And then you could be all kinds of problems could show up. So
Yeah, of
having
course, of
a good
course.
could also work
Yeah,
well, since then I'm not able to add so many new stuff in a week to
yeah.
so
Is that
the
is your computer programming background like the stuff you used to do? Was it more on like the back end side than front end too? I'm curious what you were doing before
yeah.
this. Yeah.
Before that, I worked for two companies. First, I started in Funcom, a game developer from in Oslo. So
Okay.
That was my first job, so many years there, 9 years or so, I think.
Yeah.
And and then I started in Opera software, a browser,
Mm.
and so that was also about the same amount of time. So and three of them was in Tokyo. That was completely awesome. When I worked, we had some project for making the browser for Nintendo V, and I suggested to one of the bosses that wouldn't it be a good idea if I went to Tokyo and worked with Nintendo more directly there? Yeah, sure. And I was on a plane 1 week after that. I was on a plane to Japan, so that was completely awesome. So
Wow, Nintendo Wii. That's super cool.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, it has an Opera logo in the band if you find an old one. So I was part of the project that did that.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so cool.
So,
But so now you're full time managing the site, studying backgammon when you have a little bit of extra time. Okay, I gotcha. Do you have
yeah.
do you have any like I guess well let's talk about heroes too. I know that that's fun during the pandemic, was it that you finally came up with that? What was the inspiration to make a play site as well?
It was actually part of the old server had possibility to play online matches. It was a suggestion to one of the users who said that yeah, it would be cool to have. Ah, sure. And then I came up with a solution for that. And then I heard the rumors that there was going to come a new backgammon site school was going to be showed or released. That was a Galaxy, and then said, "Yeah, sure." And I had to come up with something, some new stuff that looked better than the old one, and
Yeah.
that was how uh, Heroes came about. So
Oh, super cool. Okay, I kind of had forgotten that they popped up around the same time, but that makes sense. It's like someone else comes out with another option and it like pushes you to make yours better or figure out what
yeah,
you
yeah,
like,
yeah.
right? Yeah. Yeah.
Competition is good. Then it forces everyone to improve to meet
Yeah.
the competitive competition. So it's
Yeah. How do you think about like I guess like player pools on Galaxy and Heroes like would you do you wish everyone would come play on your site or is there something you think like I'm the spot for this kind of play and Galaxy does this
I think
well or
no, I think we are not completely overlapping in the audience.
yeah.
I think, but and that's probably a good thing since everybody isn't going to like all the millions of features that I have on my server. That's too much. They want something that's simpler and really straightforward. And
Yeah.
then the Galaxy probably would be a better option. And
Yeah.
if they're more interested in the studying part and also going through the match afterwards and going through the moves and check, then my service would be perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah. I think yours is really cool for the online tournaments too. Like I can't believe how easy that is for a director to go set up a room with all the settings and then as a player, I just like
mm,
go find my tournament and I join it. And if I try to initiate a match with someone, like all the settings that the tournament director
there you
wants are there, you know?
go.
So,
So
yeah, it's been like a cool
that,
experience. Yeah.
for the tournament player, yeah, it's better. Also, the option that if anything happens, disconnect or something, that the match is saved and then you can resume when you go back. That part
Oh, wow.
is
I
also
didn't know about that. That is a
so
really important feature. Yeah.
even if the server crashes, then you can restart and then you can continue from where you played. So everything is saved
Oh, cool.
when you
Okay.
play along. That's
I
extra
always
safety.
wondered
And,
that. So if I'm like playing my WBIF finals match, which
uh,
happened already, but if
mm,
that
mm.
like disconnects, like the server knows that I disconnected, and so like the clock
Yes,
doesn't just run out. Okay,
you
okay.
don't know, you don't lose anything on it. That's it's really difficult to lose anything time on the clock since yeah, it's made so that yeah, it's completely fair. And
Yeah.
so today the I saw a player that had 1 second left on the clock, and he could play a game, a full game through on that one. So
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's
yeah,
super cool. Okay, okay. That yeah, all the tournament stuff I had some thought in my mind, but I know okay. So you're generating like it must be just a ton of match files through tournaments and things like that online play on Heroes now. I've always been
yeah,
curious about you also have this massive database of live play stuff in
oh yeah,
studio.
yeah.
And I'm curious, well, two things really, like how they
Mm.
overlap and if you're like developing training tracks out of Heroes stuff or anything like that. And yeah, just also like what you're able to do with all that data. I mean, it's really cool stuff to
Yeah,
have.
I
Yeah.
haven't used any of it for any other purpose, but for each player, that the player player, you end up with automated aero database there. So you actually create your own training tracks there.
Yeah.
So you can go through the private database there and play some of the through some past blunders. So that's
Yeah. I gotcha.
so
So for the public training tracks, are you like curating what matches those come from and things like that, or how does that work?
you think on the Backgammon Studio.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one, yeah, that's trying to collect the match files I can find online, and it's
Okay.
nowadays it's BMAP is just generating a crazy amount of match files. They are
Yeah. Yeah.
really huge on this area. So
Yeah, it's amazing. I like to
uh,
think before like 2019, I was like the BMAP. I was trying to
yeah,
send
well,
every
okay,
time I played a tournament, I tried to get a bunch there, and then we'd have like a big
yeah,
chunk from that tournament. Yeah, it was.
yeah,
I've always been so fascinated about that though. Like it's just there's a lot of questions about PR and play and match winning percentages and just like how does everything actually work. And BMAB's like got some chance to do some analysis of data like that too. And but I mean, you're another place where we can start. If everyone sends all their match files, we can learn a lot about how this game
mhm.
works in that sense.
Yeah, yeah, taking it to another level. Yeah, not just the result, and but also yeah, going through match errors and
Yeah, yeah. So is
it's,
there when you get all those matches from BMAB and things like that, I guess like is there any like reporting or slicing of that data that you do on your own to like do you create any statistics from these kinds of things?
what I do is just obtain the mesh files and analyze them at some plus plus level, so they are better. And since in the past, when I made some quiz in on the Backgammon Studio, then some users said, "Nah, this is not great. It would be more correct if you analyze at a higher level." So then I started analyzing everything at a much higher level before uploading the meshes.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Yeah, very
So
cool. I've seen sometimes you'll put out posts of like what everyone's PRs were from a tournament or something like that and
yeah,
top players.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but,
Yeah.
that's yeah. It's not something that is fixed schedule, but sometimes it can be at least the larger tournaments that where there are many match files. If there's just a couple of match files from a tournament, then it's not so interesting to put up any statistics. But like the last Merit Open, that was it's a huge one, and it looks like it's going to be the biggest tournament this year in terms of transcribed matches. Currently, I think UBC is the top entry with 200, a bit over 200 entries, but
Wow.
I think Merit is 190. It's closing in on that, so it will race past UBC easily, I think. So,
Oh, that's fantastic. That's so cool. Do you get to work
but
with like Mate on all that too and
no,
like
I haven't. I guess I should probably. That would have been an idea to do that, but
I know he's got
I guess,
infinite match files. Yeah.
in the past, I guess there's a little bit, perhaps a bit competition since I upload and everything. But he has an interesting transcribing and then getting some return from that. So he probably isn't interested in everything to be released right away. So
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, that's so interesting. That's I mean the competition thing's always an interesting story too. Like it does push people to do things better and figure out how to like provide a really good product. But then I don't know, there's like our community is fairly small. There's not a lot of room for it, right?
true.
So
Yeah,
you can
that's
have
true. Yeah.
to, yeah. Yeah, to me I'm always like I don't know, like whatever my offering is, I still want to try to like share with people and try to figure out how to grow the game first, right? I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, find a ways to do that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I think that's something that can benefit everybody to
Yeah.
getting more people into the game. So,
Sure, sure. But okay, so Heroes came out a couple of years ago. I guess I know you have the Heroes 3 server as well, trying to reduce like deal with
um,
traffic on the main one. Is there anything else difficult about that or is just multiple options? for playing.
Also, Heroes 3 is also the server that receives the next update earlier. So since
Mm.
there's much fewer players there, it's not fatal if something breaks badly. That not going to affect the entire Backgammon user base. So
Yeah, I gotcha. Very cool.
it, mm.
Well, yeah. So what sort of I mean, do you have any big goals with this or you just kind of it looks to me like day by day you get feedback from people, you're really in touch with the people using Studio and Heroes and every week you try to make it a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Yes,
curious if you
yes.
got like a long-term vision for it too.
Uh, so yes, there's always I have so many things I want to do, but I also want to not push it too hard and taking too many risks. Since now it's a perfectly stable platform and works very well already. So,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
I gotcha.
but there is always some players who find something that they like to improve on, and then I try to see what I can do. So,
Yeah, sure. It's just you developing, right? Have you ever thought about like
yeah,
growing the team or anything like that or
it is tempting, yeah, to earn more, but so far it seems to be okay.
yeah. Yeah, okay, okay. What about like I guess do you have any like long-term revenue goals for it or anything like that? Are you hoping to like make money off it someday?
No, currently it's perfectly fine. So it doesn't have to grow much past this, and it's pretty cool. So
Yeah, that's very cool. Okay, okay. I guess as like a backgammon player and everything, then like I don't know, like you created this big solution for studying in this space, right? And I
mm,
think you really nailed that, which is cool. Is like,
mm,
what else would you like to see happen in the backgammon world? Do you feel like is missing? What do you hope someone else solves someday?
mm. Yes, coming up with the next bot that can crush XG badly. That will awesome. Like some talk about some what's called it. The Google one, the AlphaGo or something that some Alpha backgammon
Yeah,
stuff. But not somebody needs to talk to someone who works at Google and give them the ideas that yeah, this is a challenge that you should
yeah.
try to go for. That would have been awesome.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so glad you brought that up. You're like the perfect person to talk to about it too, because like I have like a little. I went to school for computer science. I was a developer for a bit too, and I got more in
Yeah.
like the leadership track in
Mm,
software. But so I have some idea of what these solutions look like and like kind of technically what's so impressive about them. And I got interested in the same thing as like, well, like it's an open source project where you can submit games to it to like potentially be worked on by Alpha Zero and things like that, I think, Um,
mm,
but but as I started to think about it more, I tried to figure out like why haven't they done it already? Like why
mm,
would it even work? These kinds of things. And I saw an article very recently actually that I'm really interested in. I
mm,
think they use the program was called DeepMind. And I'm not sure how this is related to Alpha Zero or Alpha Go or anything like that. But they used it to get to a top play level of a game called Stratego. I don't know if you've heard of
mm,
this, but it's somewhat
mm,
chess-like, except you don't have perfect information. All of like, if you imagine that every piece in chess had its
mm,
back to you and on the front had painted what piece it was, and you could
mm,
organize them however you wanted. Like
mm,
this is kind of what Stratego is like, right? So
mm,
so there is like a similar board space, but then you don't know what the pieces are, and you have to figure that out. And there's some bluffing, right? And so this
mm,
creates a whole new challenge for something like Alpha Zero in like it's like a new kind of game. But they're able to train it and get it to a top level in that, which intrigued me.
mm,
But I bring that up because backgammon is a different kind of game than chess and Go categorically, as well as this
mm,
one, right? Like those are perfect information games.
mm.
Stratego is like an imperfect information game. Something like poker has some of those aspects, and then backgammon just has this wild probability to deal with, where you don't actually
But
have
yeah,
control, right?
I think it would be quite a challenge to come up with something like that. But it's,
Yeah, yeah. So I've like thought this through,
mm,
and if like an algorithm that would allow a bot to just play chess against itself. Like it gets perfect feedback about what worked and what didn't. Like the path either led to victory or it lost
Friendly,
led to defeat, right?
yeah,
But
that's
yeah, every step of the path
totally.
in backgammon, it will lead to victory or defeat
Uh,
some percentage of the
but
time, right? And so your
yeah,
feedback
that's
is pretty
yeah, the single
imperfect.
distinction. Was it right or was it wrong? That's it's difficult to tell afterwards. It's depending on whatever the opponent did. It could be a complete disaster because you did something that made his role perfectly like a joker, and
Right.
yeah, it's really difficult to determine was it the best move. That's
Yeah. So
uh,
this like, I mean, the whole concept of supervised learning and giving feedback about the plays versus unsupervised, which they've done with chess and Go now, I think. It's really confusing if that's even an applicable model to backgammon. I'm curious if you know
yeah.
much about like
No, I don't.
AI or if you've thought about this too. Yeah.
No, no, I don't. I haven't worked that much in that field to tell. But so I
Yeah.
guess we have to just cross our fingers and hope for XG3 to one day show up.
Yeah, yeah. And your site still like it links up with GNU, I presume, right? The open source spot.
Yeah, Heroes uses yeah, so that's true. Yeah, so
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Have you thought
yeah.
about like using XG for that, or you find any big difference there? What's that
A
decision like?
couple of users have suggested it, and once I wrote them an email to Xavier, and but I mean, he sent me some documentation on it. So, but I haven't started working on any of it. But it could be an interesting future, but perhaps not for heroes, since I think it generates so much positions that need to be analyzed. I was more thinking
Mm.
on more on for instance, on the Studio 2, the next the version that where for any position, if you go into a match, you can alter the position, just drag a checker somewhere, or and then you see the evaluation of what would be right if the position was a little bit different. And
Yeah.
that is something that could, for instance, be sent to an XG server to be analyzed. Now
Yeah.
it's using GNU to do that.
Oh, very cool.
So
Okay, so you can analyze positions in Studio too, though. That's a nice feature, regardless, like whatever it's using. I remember uploading matches. It was I think you tried to default to whatever the highest level of analysis was, depending on what people had used, right? Something like this. So if you roll it out, it would override results that weren't rolled out, or something like this. Does that sound right? You still doing that?
I'm not,
Oh,
no, I'm
okay,
not
okay,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, that is, but
Well, that's cool. Okay, that's definitely an interesting use case. Yeah, and I bet the getting so you must. I guess I'm not clear either on how the analysis like APIs for Canoe work, but you must have to have a server somewhere that you send analysis requests and it gives you some answer back or something. Yeah.
yes, yeah, that's no, it's is it four servers that all can do a bit of GNU analysis. So
Yeah.
there's a lot spreading some load over these servers. So
Yeah, I was imagining. I mean, I'm guessing that's why Galaxy spends so much on their servers, and that would be like a huge increase in server costs for you, I would imagine, like moving over to a play
yeah,
site. Like if you're going to
yeah,
give live feedback about the plays, then those requests out to like actually process and use like CPU power to get a result back is like that's
very dry, quite a
very
bit. Yeah,
expensive relative to like get a piece of data from a database and show it to a user, right? So
yeah. So it's a different level of computing power needed there. So
yeah, yeah.
so it would be interesting to learn how what Galaxy does there, since they have such a huge user base, and they are. I'm guessing they are using some cloud service for it's the only thing that scales very well.
Yeah,
I'm only using a couple of Linux servers, and that's enough to run it. So
yeah,
but it wouldn't work. It wouldn't scale to tens of thousands of users. That would be too much.
yeah, yeah. That's an amazing project, probably like having to figure out how to host this all, I imagine too. Was that part of your job and your tech job world too, or did you just have to figure this all out when you decided
No,
you
this
wanted to build
I
this
had to learn.
studio?
I haven't been like some admin for this. So There've been a learning experience uh, when working with these heroes too, since I
Yeah.
had to deal with everything. Like one of the last things that finally caught up on was the server was yeah, reasonably stable, but sometimes it just went down. I had no idea what was happening,
Yeah.
and it happened occasionally. And I just couldn't. Sometimes I found that it was my fault, but other times no, it didn't make any sense. And it turned out that it was some external. Like some port scans that kept sending some random data to the server and different ports. And sometimes it managed to find one of my internal ports that wasn't protected for external
Oh, wow.
data, and then that sent some garbage in and then just collapsed.
How
Then I
interesting.
figured, yeah. So then I found that I had just had to add some firewall, proper firewalls to protect everything, and then
Yeah.
suddenly the server was super stable. So
Oh, very
that's
cool. Yeah. Oh, it's such a pain to figure that stuff out.
yeah, yeah. So you look into the logs and no, it doesn't make sense that it is not something that you do, and it turns out it's coming from outside. So,
When I first, yeah, I loved coding when I went to school for it and that like solving the logic puzzles basically and algorithms and all this. And then when I got into the real world, there was a lot more of this kind of like something's wrong, go figure out what. And I was like, I don't want
uh,
to. So I have to search so long for this. But I don't know, like do you enjoy doing that kind of work or like what's your favorite part of
yeah,
running a
no,
site
I
like
think
this?
it's fun to dig through data and see what's going on, figure out debugging stuff, and figure out what on earth is happening and how did it happen.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
can be some quite a puzzle sometimes to
Oh. Well,
figure
good for
out.
you.
So,
Good for you.
mm,
That was
uh,
that
and
really
that's
it killed my soul to do those kinds of. No, I don't know.
okay.
I could
That's
figure it out. I would just be
yeah.
stressed out when you finally figure it
Mm,
out.
mm,
That's a great moment, but it
mm.
takes a while to
Yeah,
get
true.
through.
Yeah, but it can take some time. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
also when I worked like in on the Nintendo Wii, we had some developer machines we worked on, and then also we sent builds to Nintendo, and then there's something called that Mario Club. That's 100 developers. Sometimes they send everybody on one product, and then they just try to go through and find everything crazy stuff, and then they come up with some really strange stuff that they manage to reproduce some
yeah,
weird things, and then you have to figure out what on earth what's going on there. So that was it was quite a bit of challenge for me to work with. That was good fun. I think
that's so cool. Yeah, that different kind of stress testing gets you like different
mm,
kinds of problems for sure too, right? Like
yeah,
there's probably
yeah,
a million things that you could fix on Studio that just never
mm,
come up
yeah,
because it's not
uh,
under that sort of scrutiny, you know? But the
mm.
Wii's gonna get played by like millions of people, right? Like
Yeah,
they're
so
gonna
everything
find
has
it. So,
covered. Yeah, yeah, and
yeah,
yeah, you have a higher level of like acceptance level. You can't you can't crash
yeah,
on a product like a console project. It has to be super stable. It's
yeah,
not acceptable to have it go down. That's
yeah.
so.
Yeah, that stuff's also interesting. It's super cool.
Mm.
That's so how do you actually have physical servers that you own yourself or you use some sort of hosting
So this is
solution?
it's a hosting like on DigitalOcean. I think that's a provider that's
Yeah,
currently
cool.
using. Yeah,
Okay.
so that's
It's a new
fine.
world. That's how everyone does everything now. And it used to, I mean,
It's fairly common. Yeah,
yeah,
even
yeah.
if I think many of us are merging or converging over to the cloud services, since then you don't have to think of upgrading the like security updates that's coming constantly on the Linux server. So I have to do that regularly. But
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
That's pretty cool. Has that been pretty
mm.
easy to like navigate working with those servers too? Like you have pretty direct
Yeah,
access or
it's getting
yeah,
fairly it's straightforward. So,
yeah.
uh,
Man, just the scope of a project like this to like run something like Studio is really
mm.
amazing to me. I hadn't thought before about all the tech details that would go into actually running this and
There's a
figuring out
lot,
what to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
You should. I think the best is to just to not to think about the entire scope. Just start and take a small piece at a time and solve that to a reasonable level, and then go on to the next one. And not worry about the huge mountain of stuff that's likely to be there. That's then it's oh, this is too much. I can't do it. But
Well,
focus on
super
some small
cool.
stuff. So
Okay. Well, so where should people keep an eye out for updates about the next version of Studio? You post on Facebook pretty regularly. Is that where
It's,
you?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think I should try to do some videos too, since just screenshots doesn't do it justice. You have to see it in action
Oh, of
to see
course.
some of the good stuff. So I'm thinking of I should perhaps do a couple of videos. So
Yeah, this is also just the new world, right? No one has patience to read
yeah,
a document anymore.
well, that's true. Yeah, it's pointless to even have with the documentation. That's a help system. That's now they will either ask you directly or figure it out. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, this is super cool. It's so nice to get to know you and like everything that goes into making Studio and Heroes work the way it does. Is there anything else I missed that you wanted to share before we wrap it up?
No, I think it's. I think we are. I covered a few things. Also, yeah, the new. I'm not sure if you've seen the new bookworm challenge that I have on Heroes. That the premium upgrades, every eight full premium upgrades, they can join a tournament to win one of Mishi's books. So it's
Oh,
I think it
cool.
was a nice way to give something back to the Backgammon community, those who really like the work. And you're also one of them. So I heard rumors that you have a book out too. So that's
I do. Oh,
could be
you've only heard
yeah,
rumors. I was thinking, I was
yeah.
like, how do I get
No,
involved in this bookworm challenge? It
mm,
sounds pretty cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's I think it's a nice way to
Yeah.
also bonus to players
Yeah.
to fight for an extra prize. So
Yeah. Well, if you haven't seen it, yeah, I put it out in, I think, September. So it's probably been out like 2.5, 3 months now. But
yeah,
it's
mm,
adjusting to match play. So I
yeah,
tried to
yeah. I've
get
seen that.
like everything in
Right.
there about how to deal with score cubes and these gammon save and gammon go checker play kind of
Yeah,
situations and just cover it all in a way that's like if you've separating learning backgammon from
mm,
learning the specific tournament structure, like the match
mm,
structure, and kind of how can we study these differently and develop like an intuitive feel for how match play works without having to do too much math study, you know,
yeah,
which I think is
yeah.
like kind
Yeah,
of a very scary thing for a lot of people as they get into it. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's on my list to read your book too. That's
cool.
but that's also impressive in the so many new books that has become in the last couple of years. It's just crazy. In the past, I've been really few ones, but now it's exploded. It seems to. So
Yeah, it's like too much to
excellent.
keep up with now too. And I think it's really
Yeah.
cool to write a book and get a better feel for what the sort of the landscape is in that way. And I
Mm,
realized with my book, like I feel like I was really excited about it once I started to think about the idea because it's just like a very contained topic that hasn't
mm,
been like hit from like start to finish in a very
mm,
like simple way to digest yet, you know?
mm,
And I
yeah.
actually think most topics in backgammon are kind of like that. And maybe I didn't
Mm,
realize this about Michi's books before.
mm,
Like, what's so nice about those is that they capture a topic and it's just done with, right? Where I think
mm,
a lot of like the older generation of books, maybe like it just had a lot of positions, kind of, right? And we would like talk about a lot of different concepts, but it
yeah.
feels like you get into something really technical about a whole bunch of different things. But
Mm,
maybe there's something to be desired about like how the foundation of the game works or something like
mm,
this, right? So I don't know.
yeah.
I've been like very thinking about this now. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many aspects of backgammon that there's room for a lot more books to be written about all kinds of subjects. So that's good.
Yeah.
Also, the first book backgammon book I read was the 501 Roberti book, and that was an eye opener. It covers lots of positions and lots of stuff. And before I read the book, I thought, backgammon was a simple game. I knew everything there was to know. And then I read the book, and that was whoops. There was a lot more to backgammon than what I thought. So yeah,
Yeah.
but
I'm
there's
really that one I've heard he released an update too. For a long time people complained about
yeah, I've
like
seen that.
it was
Yes.
on old software, but they've got all that corrected now.
Okay.
And I want to go back to that really bad because like
Mm,
maybe from that generation of books, that's what I'm talking. That's probably the closest thing to it. Is like each topic,
mm,
here's some fundamental ideas, and move on
mm,
from there, right? So, I could be a good like foundational kind of book to start on. I'm searching for that though, right? Like, how do you take someone playing in the double digit PR and give them one book that's going to take them a big step towards like
Yeah,
like under 8 or something like this. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But,
yeah,
I think the various books have merits on their own, so it's.
yeah, yeah.
I don't think you can just stick to one book. You
Sure.
should probably do a
Yeah.
sample of more. So it's
You're right, though. I used to be able to just buy all the backgammon books out there when I was getting started. I was like, I'm
yeah,
just going to read it
yeah,
all. And I think I
yeah,
did that pretty quickly. Maybe there's some that I didn't get to or for one reason or another. But now I feel like I have to be more discerning about like, okay, there's like 10 new books out this year, right?
yeah.
Like which
That's
ones will I
pretty
actually
wide.
read? Yeah.
So,
Yeah. 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 So it's getting it's good though, because that's just I mean, it's just more
mm,
learning
yeah,
opportunities for everyone, right? So
yes.
do you have a favorite like most recent book that you read?
Let me see. Where is that? That was Mishy's backchecker strategy. That was, I think,
Yeah.
a couple of pages left on the back, field
Yeah.
positions. But yeah, still, I liked the his approach to thinking about that type of position. That was really good stuff. So,
Yeah, yeah. All of
yeah.
his rules and like concepts that you can remember and apply again are very good. I like his approach for writing a book. I like his like simple style around it too.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I enjoy that quite a bit. Endgame technique was the one for me, which I think
yeah.
like some players
Yeah.
already had a feel for a lot of these things. But I read that in 2019, like at the Montenegro tournament or something like this, or
Yeah.
like right
Yeah.
before it. And I'm usually nervous about reading a book while I'm playing, and like it can confuse you and get you applying concepts that you're not ready to apply if
Yeah,
you
it
haven't
should
like,
be if you read some new book, then you
yeah,
almost like, you give up on your own old experience and try to
right, yeah,
adapt too much, and then things
yeah,
go wrong. The stuff that you have established over time, it's not likely to be completely wrong. You
right,
have getting some right ideas along the way. So
yeah. But so Michi's Endgame Technique book was not like that at all. There were concepts in there that I didn't know about it that I was immediately able to take to the board, and just like that end of the game was I had my bearings and I hadn't had that before. And so I mean I was really impressed with that book that way. I think that one's cool. Yeah, yeah. Well, cool. Thanks so much for joining. This has been great. I really enjoyed this, Terry.
yeah, yeah, it's
Terry,
excellent.
Terje.
Yeah,
I've before I ever anyone said it, I thought it was Terge probably, and
yeah,
then
that's a bit that gets too close to a different word that's a little bit wrong. So yeah,
and then for a long time I kind of like Spanish would creep in and I could see Terje, but I never
yeah,
felt like I was doing it right, and I was like, I don't
yeah,
know.
definitely.
Yeah,
It's a very unique Scandinavian Norwegian word. So
Terje.
it doesn't. Yeah, that's excellent. Thank you.
Awesome.
So,
Well, you're the best, man. Thanks so much for all your contributions to backgammon and our study, and it's great, and can't wait to see what
mm,
you do with Heroes in Studio next.
yep.
All
Thank
right.
you. So
Bye now.
see you.
Thanks
Bye.
everybody for watching. We'll be back with more interviews on Fridays going forward. Bye now.
Bye.